That's right, your eyes don't fool you. RetroBlasting is talking about Gremlins in this one. Like most kids in the 80s, I remember when Gremlins came out. It was one of those films that started to push the boundaries of the rating system, and Steven Spielberg was at the helm of that one just like he was with Temple of Doom. Now, I didn't see this movie in the theaters because my parents just didn't take me to it, but they weren't opposed to me seeing it. And so when it came out on video cassette, they ran out to Circuit City and rented it back when Circuit City had a rental store. Yes, that was a thing. There was also a time when there was a store called Circuit City. Anyway, so I rent it, I watch it, and true to the Motion Picture Association of America's, frustration with the movie, it was not an R, but it certainly wasn't necessarily PG. I mean, it kind of freaked me out. That being said, it got me obsessed with Gizmo, and I ended up having a Gizmo cake at one point for a birthday, and I also ended up with some of the LJN figures, which are still with me to this day. The 3-pack of LJN, the sort of evolution of the Gremlins. It goes from Gizmo to Stripe to the Gremlin. And yeah, I've had these for 30 plus years, 35 years now, I guess. It was a short-lived line, much like E.T. It was based all around the creature. So it was various scales of Gizmo, whether he was big or small, or he was a water grower, like LJN had those ones you put in water and they expand. And it was a very limited run of toys. There was a wind-up Gizmo. So it ends up like E.T. kind of having this retroactive cult following. I collected the film on Blu-ray a few years ago, and then I went out and bought it on 4K just last week because I really want to support the format of 4K for older films. I want to encourage the studios to put older vintage movies on 4K. And Melinda and I were at Target a few weeks before that, and we ran across the NECA Gremlins figure. I mean, I've heard there's a Gizmo as well, but this is the Gremlin. This is the one with the chainsaw. And she said, oh, that might be cool to review for Halloween. And then we ended up not reviewing it for Halloween because we got caught up with the Real Ghostbusters Monsters thing. And so I looked over the other day and I thought, I still need to talk about that. So consider this a modern musing. Initially, I was going to do the typical RetroBlasting thing. I was going to open it, look at it, and really dig into it. And when I opened the box and pulled the figure out of the box and was looking at him in the tray, he was bound into the box with one-way elastic bands. In other words, once you clip them, you can't put him back and secure him back in the tray. And I thought, well, that's really weak. I mean, that's exactly how they did it with those Playmates Ninja Turtles that I reviewed a few months ago, the comic book style ones that sucked so much. Beautifully detailed figure, comes with great accessories, the chainsaw, the skateboard, the saw blade. He looks like he's right out of the movie. Great paint application, great detail, real rooted hair, on the back of his head and neck. But he can't go back in the box if you take him out of the box, the display tray. I should have just listened to my instincts because these bands were too tight. They do not come out easily. Once they had popped out from around the limbs, once I'd gotten them through the holes in the tray, there was no way I was going to be able to pull those back around and pull those back in. There's no way. And I thought, why was this worth it at all? Because the funny part, this is the funniest part about all this. When I got the figure out of the package and started fiddling with it, my opinion of the figure went down. Down. The joints are stiff and gummy. The figure has no center of gravity and cannot hold its accessories very well. You have to kind of fiddle with the chainsaw, and it kind of gets in there in one pose, and then you have to kind of figure out where the arms need to be for its center of gravity because his feet are stupid tiny. His head doesn't want to turn. It feels like it's going to pop off or break off. The joints just feel not good. I mean, it doesn't feel like a really great figure in that respect. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's better off in the tray. It's better off just sitting in the box. That's what this thing was made to do. And I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there who's like, well, actually, I found it very easy to stand these things up because I'm a Gremlins fan and blah, blah, blah. No, I don't want to hear that. This thing has holes in its feet. What are they for? It doesn't come with there are no pegs on this skateboard for it to stand on. So I don't know what they were thinking with this. I should have left it in the tray. I really should have, because as I'm looking at it now, I'm like, this was not worth the price of admission. Yeah, the paint job is great. Yeah, it's a famous retro IP, Gremlins. Yeah, it looks like the character. He's got a moving jaw. He's all that stuff. But as far as actually being something worth taking out of the box, no. Ugh. And I'm not going to say that the figure is bad. Like, the figure is gorgeous. The figure is really, really nicely done as far as like NECA doesn't disappoint when it comes to the detail. They really put the detail into these toys, and they're clearly for adult collectibles. The packaging is beautiful. The packaging itself is so nice that you almost ask yourself, why would I separate this thing from the packaging? Clearly, this is a collectible for adults. And I thought, well, that really is the Achilles heel. Between the one-way elastic bands, the one-way plastic bands that are holding him into the packaging, the fragility of the figure itself, and the fact that the packaging is so nice, there's no reason to actually remove this toy from the packaging at all. Unless you are a modern collector and you love Gremlins and you want to have a Gremlins scenario with the NECA figures on your shelf. If you want to do that, then absolutely these are worth taking out of the box. If you're not that hardcore about it, but you're still a Gremlins fan, you need to buy them and leave them in the box. And I usually don't say that, but NECA has really engineered this in a way where, for me personally, I can't justify clipping the bands and taking this thing out of the box. I just can't do it because I don't want it out of the box permanently. I just want it to look at for a minute, determine its quality, and then put it back in the box. And I can get enough of that information just by looking at it right here. I don't want to go through the headache of taking that thing out and then having to put it back in and it not be, back in there securely and all that jazz. So really nice figure. There's a number of figures in the Gremlins line from NECA, including Gizmo and I believe a Gremlins 2 Gremlin, which you should probably check out if you're a big Gremlins fan. Beautiful detail. A lot of work went into these. NECA should be applauded for taking on this license and doing it so well in that respect. NECA needs to work on their engineering. The fragility of their figures really needs to be reinforced a little bit, so that's not an issue. And I would really consider two-way packaging at some point, twisties instead of those permanent little plastic T-clips that you have to clip off and then you can't get them out anymore, or you can't put them back in anymore. Yeah, that's not great for a premium adult collectible figure. You need to be able to put that thing back in the box when it's time to store it and do it securely. So, yeah, that's my modern musing on NECA's Gremlin. That's probably not what you expected, but that is the way I feel about this. So I'm going to leave him in the box, and he'll just be a fixture around here for a little while. And then probably at some point, Melinda and I will decide what to do with him. Maybe we'll break him out as a Halloween decoration every now and then. Who knows? But yeah, so I'm going to get back to working on Inhumanoids. Hope you guys have enjoyed the number of videos that I've been putting out the last few weeks. I've really been trying, like I said, for the last third of 2019, really the last half, to deliver more content like I promised. So I hope you're noticing that, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching this. We will see you on the next video.